We dropping the whole album on
Bro, don't talk to me like that.
Then you don't.
I don't even know who those kids are. Are you crazy?
Wait, you actually don't know who those kids are?
No, I just asked you who they are.
Lobries and Gentlegrams, in today's episode of Lobry in Gentleland, rap battle stupidest student, fluent in fraudulent phony Montana stories, granted by ghostwriting glory, goated at glazing the gavel when he loses a rap battle, bunch of beef like a cattle, but the petty petition padre probably needs a paddle cause he's barely staying afloat.
I need the max win.
Flopping and dropping duds, Iceman songs getting dragged through the mud, hackers leaking the crud, and the Crody can't catch a buzz.
Embarrassing.
Let's break this mess down, see if the Iceman can turn things around, but first drop a like and subscribe for the content about the Canadian clown.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living.
Alright, Lobbies and Gentlegrams, so I figured it out, alright? Everyone's talking about Iceman 3 being the big red button that was about to destroy the music industry and Kendrick Lamar. We're getting all this crazy secret imagery of mysterious Pinocchios in the Iceman episodes, and I think I cracked the code on why Drake is so obsessed with Pinocchios. It's because when he fell into his true passion of acting on SNL, he didn't really fit in, so he was trying to make a funny catchphrase involving Pinocchio, and everybody hated him for it.
My Uncle Pinocchio.
And as you can see, that's why these Pinocchio people in his Iceman episodes represent revenge, because Lobry never fit in, even when he was an actor. No one liked his Pinocchio catchphrases, so now he's dropping the red button on everybody. And for all the OV hoes who have been saying Kendrick is milking this battle, Kendrick would never be where he is without dissing Drake. On that same episode of SNL, which aired almost a year after Drake dropped Back to Back, he was still milking that song while tapping into his Degrassi acting roots on SNL.
This chair.
Actually, I was you.
Alright, but enough about the petty Pinocchio petition prom queen padre. As we know, Drake has been very busy dropping many songs over the last year and a half in an attempt to erase the world's memory of the brutal takedown the tiny Tupac twin had taunted him with. He's gearing up to drop what's probably the most important album of his career. And even though he's been releasing single after single, his fans have still spread the narrative that hip-hop is boring and it's because Drake is not active. Now let's debunk that, because it plays into the grander picture of why things are looking very scary for Drake and this upcoming album. So as of the day of this video, there are only 4 rap songs on the global Spotify charts, and this is the lowest in 9 years. And really what that means is this is the lowest in history, because the Spotify charts only came out 9 years ago. I'll be honest, this is a scary sight, because if the labels see that hip-hop is no longer the most dominant genre, they're not going to invest in the superstars of the next generation. That's why you're seeing so many more country songs on the chart, or Latin songs. The labels are strategically investing into the Bad Bunnies, the Taylor Swift, the Morgan Wallens of the world, and because those are the artists turning the largest profit right now, the music industry wants those genres to be the most popular, because that means those superstars will only get bigger. It's kind of like how 7 years ago, hip-hop was the biggest genre in the industry, and you had a lot more of these smaller artists popping up, right? Like the Trippie Reds, Lil Uzi, Lil Pump, whoever, all these artists were popping up left and right. But as a result, because the mainstream consumer got more used to hearing hip-hop music, the superstars of hip-hop got bigger as a result. That's when we saw Drake's mainstream peak. That's when we even saw Kendrick Lamar at one of his most commercially successful eras with his Damn project. Same thing with Kanye West, Travis, J. Cole, etc. I say that to say, because it's now the Taylor Swifts, the Morgan Wallens who have overturned the Drakes in terms of the most streamed artists today. The music industry has an incentive to push the genre of music that they make, because then their biggest players, their superstars, will only get bigger, and it'll give the opportunity for a lot of smaller acts to emerge. That's why we don't see as many newcomers within hip-hop like we were seeing back in the, 2016 XXL freshman days. I say all that to say, it's very scary that this is the lowest amount of hip-hop entries we've seen on the Spotify charts in history. Again, it means there's less incentive for the record labels to build up and invest in the superstars of the next generation. I mean, look at this. 5 years ago today, there were 56 rap songs on the Spotify charts. Today, there's only 4. And while this is a dark look, it does indicate that a shift is happening. Because of those 4 songs on the global Spotify charts today, the lowest in history, 3 of those 4 songs belong to Kendrick Lamar. Take a look at this. As you can see, right? No other artist besides Kendrick Lamar has an entry on the global Spotify charts today. Playboi Carti has a feature with The Weeknd. Drake has his pop song One Dance from 9 years ago. But the only artist with hip-hop placements on the Spotify charts today is Kendrick Lamar. So when they tell you it's not the dot era, tell them the Drake era is stale like bread at Panera. Ugh, that was trash. Just like this Iceman rollout. And hey, it might get cancelled.
Spicy.
So I've did the math, since you don't have to. Since his beef with Kendrick Lamar ended, Drake has released 38 songs officially onto streaming platforms. That's not including the immense amount of leaks, which we're going to touch on shortly. Not one of these songs, aside from Nokia, has had a lasting impact in the top 10 of the Billboard charts in the last year and a half. And if you don't think this is making Drake panic, then you probably also don't think he lost a rap battle a year and a half ago.
I study rap battles for a living.
But speaking of that rap battle, I'm sure you remember 616 in LA. The Mole, right? That was the biggest question we had from that song. Who is the Mole? Kendrick rapping, KTW, know the wires in your circle should puzzle you. If you were street smart, you would know that your entourage is only to hustle you. 100 people that you got on salary, half of them want you as a casualty. Are you finally ready to play Have You Ever? Let's see. Have you ever thought that OVO was working for me? Both Kendrick and Drake made allusions to the fact that there were leaks in each other's camp. Drake had emphasized we plotted for a week and then we fed you the information, but then he also said the ones that you get your information from are all clowns.
I study
Clowns.
for a living.
Meanwhile, Kendrick emphasized or insinuated that OVO might have been feeding him information. And ever since this beef and before it, we have seen an insane amount of music leak out of Drake's camp, which is unprecedented before this battle. That's what makes it very weird. Drake was never known to have a bunch of songs leak. He wasn't a Playboi Carti where 1,000 songs would just randomly drop on the internet, or Kanye West where his fans would pay thousands of dollars to buy songs off of hackers who stole his music. This never happened until the battle. But it started happening with the first diss song from the battle. This is going to play an important role into the whole suspicious rollout of Iceman, because one of the most anticipated songs from that album has just leaked, and there's a lot of unanswered questions we got to get to the bottom of.
Spicy.
Why you say it so sassy?
Because that's how you talk. You talk so sassy.
Why y'all be flirting like that?
What are you talking about?
He over 30.
We'll do that shortly, but first let's go back to push-ups. Every leak that has come out of Drake's camp since this battle has been very suspicious. If you guys don't remember, Kendrick Lamar dropped Like That on March 22nd, 2024, where he said F the big three is just big me, essentially kicking off the battle. First one up to bat was J. Cole, right? Drake was still on tour. He was caught off guard. He was completely silent. J. Cole stepped in and then was very quick to désolé his way out of it. Drop a comment if you speak French. Drake was unsure what to do. And suddenly we get this mysterious slew of several AI diss tracks, or at least AI sounding diss tracks, where we don't know what's real and what's fake. We get this one song called Hi Whitney, which features AI Drake vocals rapping a chorus that says, hi Whitney, why don't you come over, girl, get high with me. Could it be real? Could it be fake? Who knows? But then we get this Push-Ups demo track. No one knows how it leaks online. It has a bunch of different bars from the official finished version that Drake ended up putting onto streaming platforms, but the way that Drake is rapping on this song is extremely robotic. His delivery is very monotonous, almost like he's just reading these lines off of paper. And something's just off with the entire cadence and vocal delivery as a whole. It's like someone basically rapped the song, wrote the song, rapped the song, then slapped Drake AI vocals on top of it, and then you get this final product. It's hard to remember Push-Ups after the wave of diss tracks Kendrick released about 17 days later, but at the time when Push-Ups mysteriously leaked online, people liked it. the reception was good. That's when Drake decided to release it officially onto streaming platforms. But the official version sounded like it was really Drake rapping it, with real emotion behind his voice. Could it be that he and his team had leaked the song online to test the waters, see if people liked it, see if it was good enough to kick off this battle, and then once he got the stamp of approval from the public, that's when he published it officially? Or was there something deeper to it? Did he have a team of ghostwriters write the song, put his AI vocals on top of it so he can hear what it would sound like when he actually rapped it, and then he went in the booth and re-recorded the whole thing? We know he played into the AI narratives a couple weeks later when he dropped Tailor Made Freestyle and used Tupac and Snoop Dogg AI vocals. Is it possible that he never wrote or recorded this push-ups track to begin with, and it was AI the whole time, and he leaked it online to see how the fans liked it before he actually officially stamped it? Well, that's what Glasses Malone thinks. Glasses Malone, if you guys didn't know, is a close affiliate of Kendrick Lamar's, but has also worked with and was signed to the Cash Money camp when Drake also just came into the game and signed with Lil Wayne and Cash Money. Glasses witnessed Drake's early come up. He witnessed his recording process. He has seen what goes on with Drake making music behind the scenes. And his theory is that a writer had leaked push-ups, and that original song that had leaked was a writer recording the song and again slapping on the Drake AI vocals, putting it out to the public to see the reaction.
Like, to me, I didn't understand why would he take the battle. This is why I've always had that perception. I really think a writer leaked the first version of Push-Ups. Like, a writer pitched it to him. They wrote the song, and they did it in the AI. They pitched their voice for AI so they could use his inflections, and then they pitched their voice to Drake's voice using AI. So they sent him the version of the record that they wrote. He took it, covered it, you know what I mean, and finished the production at that excellent level that OVO does.
We don't know for sure that this is true, but you guys go back and re-listen to that song and tell me what you think. Do you think that was really Drake recording the song, or do you think it was AI? And if it was AI, did Drake even write it? Or did someone else record it and just put his AI vocals on top? And regardless of all that, why would he leak it? And if he didn't, how did it leak? It's important questions to ask because Drake's camp has never seen a leak like that before, especially when the stakes are so high. This is your first response to this massive rap battle that J. Cole just dropped out of. And somehow your camp is so loose that the songs are just dropping on their own? Unfinished demo versions nonetheless? Very fishy. Then we get 616, where Kendrick talks about OVO working for him and the people around him being out to get him. A couple months after the beef, we get more leaks. However, unlike Drake, a bunch of you guys have been telling me you've been Akademiks winning some free cash from playing mobile games. So I want to put all you guys on to something that almost seems too good to be true. All right, let me give you a little glimpse into my life. When I'm not making this content for you guys, I have a disgusting addiction to my phone. My daily screen time is higher than Drake on that album cover, higher than Snoop off the edibles. So if you guys suffer that same addiction as me, I want to put you onto something that's going to change your life. FreeCash.com is a program that partners with mobile games that are looking for more users to play their games, and they will literally pay you to play their games for free. All you got to do is sign up using the QR code you see on the screen or using the link in the description of this video. You make an account super easy. All you got to do is put in your email, create a password, verify your email, and then you're good to go. And they got a bunch of games. My favorite is the Monopoly Go because we're always on the go trying to make some money. Once you make an account, you just click the game you want to play, follow the directions that they give you. The directions are super easy. Usually you just got to download the game and start playing. So it's about time you put that phone addiction to good use. Again, use the QR code you see on the screen or the link in my description. Create an account and you could start making more than $150 just to play a game on your phone. So in August of 2024, Lil Yachty goes on Kai Cenat's live stream and plays this song called SOD. It's a song with him and Drake. At the time, there's rumors that Drake and Lil Yachty might have had a falling out because Lil Yachty had emphasized that Kendrick Lamar had won that rap beef.
Kendrick clearly had a lot more animosity, and you felt it in every song that he dropped. Because Drake dropped great records, but also, let's be fair, Drake was deemed a loser in this battle before it started because people don't like him. Even if Kendrick won, I don't think people are going to stop listening to Drake. But I said to Drake, I told him, I feel like I don't feel like you won or lost.
A couple weeks later, Drake ends up leaking that song on his own, but it doesn't feature Lil Yachty anymore. He leaked it with about 6 other tracks on his 100 Gigs website. So you see this pattern of Drake now putting music onto the internet, not on streaming platforms, without his label backing him, randomly removing features. Almost like he's so unsure of what the public is actually going to like and is scared to release these songs officially and then they flop. So he just throws them on the internet and sees the fans' reactions. Testing the waters or testing the ice. The label ends up forcing Drake to put these leaked songs onto streaming platforms. They end up flopping. But the interesting part here is that there's a little bit of a sneak diss in the description of the songs. You could see it clearly says, sift through Drake's data dump for 3 new songs, or just hear them here. This data dump, Drake dropping all these songs on his 100 gigs website, was obviously a way to protest the label, right? To show them, look, I could just independently drop these random songs and they'll still catch a buzz. This was before he sued the label, but them putting them on the streaming platform with that description was obviously the label's way of telling both Drake and the world, hey, Drake is trying to, outmaneuver us, go behind our backs. Let us remind you that nobody here is bigger than the program. Then we get another mysterious leak from Drake, No Face, featuring his longtime collaborator, Playboi Carti. But that song also gets forced onto streaming platforms, likely by the label, but when it does, Playboi Carti's no longer on there. The second Drake song that just randomly dropped on the internet, leaked or got onto his website without the label involved, and once it makes streaming platforms, the featured artist is no longer on there. First Lil Yachty, now Playboi Carti. What's going on? It's obvious Drake is fighting the label, right? Apparently, this album is his last album on Universal Music Group. So it's a very important album for multiple reasons. Number one, whether you want to believe it or not, Kendrick Lamar in the last 12 months has dethroned Drake in terms of being the biggest rapper in the mainstream. I showed you guys the stats before, but there's even more. These are the last few tracks that both rappers have released over the last 12 months. Look at the first week streams for the Drake songs versus Kendrick's. You can see that Kendrick's first week streams for his music is wiping Drake out of the water. If that's not enough, remember he dropped an album this year with PND, Some Sexy Sleepy Songs for You, that had the massive hit Nokia, right? Well, as you can see, in 2025, Kendrick Lamar's GNX album, which came out in 2024, not even in this year, has outsold Drake's album that came out in 2025. And it came out all the way at the beginning of the year in February too, right? It had plenty of time to rack up all the sales and beat out GNX. It still hasn't. Whether you like it or not, one artist is putting up much bigger numbers than the other. And I mean, we could see that on tour as well. Drake and Kendrick Lamar are both on tour. Kendrick is doing stadiums in the same cities that Drake is performing in. Meanwhile, he's doing arenas. Stadiums carry around 40 to 80,000 people. Meanwhile, arenas carry around 20,000. Kendrick is doing double the venue size as Drake right now. I say all this to say, this Iceman album needs to blow the numbers out of the water to show the world that Drake is still the numbers guy, because that's the one thing he can hold on to, right? He's showing you he doesn't care about American hip-hop culture. He's dissing American rappers, saying that UK has the best rappers, better than America.
The best lyricists in the world, mark my words. I don't care what nobody says, nobody can out-rap London. Nobody. No disrespect to America, no disrespect to my country, but nobody can out-rap London rappers. This is the best, highest level. This is what I aspire to be.
He's been dissing all of American hip-hop media, from Joe Budden to Rob Markman, sitting down with Bobby Altov, calling all these journalists who want interviews with him losers.
Me essentially just recognizing somebody that I never met in my life that I thought was really interesting and I wanted to have an interesting conversation with. It pissed off so many all these losers, these story journalists and this guy and that guy who feels so entitled to this interview about, and Drake never does anything for this type of media, and it just made people so angry.
Ultimately, he's not out to prove that he's, the best MC in America right now. He's trying to prove that he's the biggest pop star in the world right now, and that he's one number one single away from beating Michael Jackson's record for the most amount of number ones from any artist in history. He's suing his freaking label over the fact that Not Like Us racked up tons of streams and broke every record that Drake held for the most amount of streams on Spotify. He's trying to reclaim his title. He's fighting harder than he ever has in his entire career to prove to the world that his numbers are still intact. He can still go number one, and he is still the biggest rapper in the world. Not the best, the biggest. This Iceman album needs to prove that.
Spicy.
What it also needs to prove is that he can step into renegotiations with his record label and expect a higher payout. That's also why this Iceman album is so important, because Drake was obviously in a $400 million deal with UMG. He recouped that amount and they were up for renegotiations, and that's why he's suing them, because he's basically implying they tried to ruin his reputation so that when he comes back to renegotiate his contract, they can give him a smaller amount while still owning a large portion of his back catalog, because his back catalog, all of his old albums, are what's profiting the most. And UMG knows, or at least this is what Drake is trying to say they're doing, is that they want to ruin his reputation and his brand. That way, when he's like, hey, I want to sign a new contract with you guys, they could be like, all right, but this time you're not getting 400 mil, you're getting like 200 mil because your brand is not where it was when we first signed you. That's why he's claiming they put all these bots and fake streams on Not Like Us and had Kendrick do it at the Super Bowl, because it was all a big conspiracy to ruin his reputation so that they could give him less money when he comes back to renew his contract. He needs to prove with this Iceman album that his brand is still as valuable as ever. He's still untouchable when it comes to the numbers. That way, he'll be able to get what he wants out of the label, which is a bigger contract. So he's got a lot to prove with this Iceman album. That's why you're seeing him drop these random songs all across the internet before he releases them to streaming platforms to get a feel for what the audience wants from him. Drake makes tons of different types of music, right? He's got 100 different accents. He's singing, he's rapping, he's dissing, he's yapping, he's capping, he's being a phony Montana mob boss.
You know what it is, man. Fuck all y'all, man. For real, man. I see y'all boys outside when I see y'all, man. For real, man.
So he's got to figure out what people want to hear, right? That's why we're getting a slew of music, 38 songs plus all the leaked tracks. He's got to figure out what the people want, what resonates, and he's got to deliver. Immense pressure. But the leaking didn't stop there. In the turn of the new year, 2025, when Drake finally drops his official lawsuit against UMG, a mysterious text had leaked between him and this, I believe, sports promoter, some guy, where Drake is trying to defend his lawsuit, the morality behind it, how he's saving the industry, and how it's not snitching. His justification is, me and UMG's lawsuit is like if Nike was funding a campaign about LeBron James cheating on his wife, not Adidas or Reebok. Nike, the company he's been with since he started. My situation is not no street stuff. Everybody before me that tried the label was too eccentric, so they wrote them off as crazy and they never had to pay for their sins and mistakes. I'm going to change that and make the building a safer place for every artist moving forward. The first time a DM conversation from Drake had ever just randomly leaked online, everyone thought it was fake, so Drake played into the narrative. He told DJ Akademiks that this DM was fake. DJ Akademiks reported that to the world, and then it ended up being true. So, of course, Drake was lying to Akademiks. But comparing his lawsuit and the defamation of Not Like Us to Nike making a campaign about LeBron cheating on his wife, that's kind of a weird, random comparison, right? Well, a couple days after this text message leaks, or maybe it was a couple days before, we get another leaked Drake song, the Fighting Irish Freestyle. This was the first time he was actually rapping and reflecting about the beef. But the energy wasn't directed towards Kendrick Lamar. It was directed towards LeBron James. It was called the Fighting Irish Freestyle. That's the name of the high school basketball team that LeBron played for. Drake had a tattoo of LeBron James in his Fighting Irish jersey on his arm. And in the song, he makes insinuations that he can tarnish LeBron's public image, that LeBron is hiding a secret. Talking about family, well, I'm not the cousin to visit. God forbid we gotta tarnish your public image. All that brother talk as if I really discovered a sibling. Aside from the title being a reference to the team LeBron played for, we know this was likely a reference to LeBron James because LeBron was at Kendrick's pop-out concert. And at the beginning of the song, Drake rapped, "The world fell in love with the gimmicks. Even my brothers got tickets. Seemed like they loved every minute. Just know this stuff is personal to us. It wasn't just business." So that's weird, right? We get leaked Drake text messages about LeBron cheating on his wife. We get a song insinuating that he could tarnish LeBron's public image. Leaked. This wasn't necessarily Drake who put this out. We have no idea where this actually came from. But the mysterious leaks don't stop there. We get leaked text messages between him and an ex-girlfriend where he talks about being on quote-unquote slave to Live Nation mode. Live Nation is the touring company Drake was under, where he did around 85 dates on his It's All a Blur tour in 2023. That is tons of dates. Drake is calling himself a slave to the touring company, likely in an attempt to recoup the $400 million he got from his label.
I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be honest. I wouldn't be being honest with you if I didn't say that, like, oh, if I told you, yo, let's go for dinner, or I'm at the Posto, come kick it, that I wouldn't be nervous. I'm just nervous. It's just kind of a result of your actions, you know. In the past, no matter how long ago it was, it just makes me nervous. I just don't know what's gonna happen to me as a result of like getting close to you again.
Again, no Drake text had ever leaked before this beef. It almost seems like someone was out to get him and tarnish his public image, like he said in that Fighting Irish freestyle. The leaks didn't stop there. We get more leaked Drake DMs with DJ Akademiks' Big Mac minion, Grand Wizard Chat Guy. That's really his name. And he's the one who runs the Propaganda Akademiks TV Twitter page. I don't know if you guys know anything about that, but it's a video for another day. But take a look at these DMs. These are strange DMs where Drake is talking about some very weird things that some girls around him had said.
My Uncle Pinocchio. My Uncle Pinocchio.
There was some other DMs with this same account where Drake was talking about, you know, LeBron dancing to Not Like Us because he was out of the finals. There was nothing else to do but dance. And this DJ Snacka Diddler Big Mac minion was sending Drake a bunch of things related to the beef, like Whitney's birthday or the Not Like Us music video. And Drake would just subtly react to it. A couple months later, we get 3 more leaked Drake songs randomly hopping online. We're now at a total of almost 10 leaked Drake songs since the beginning of this beef, and 3 different leaked DM conversations with Drake. Is it him testing the waters, fueling different narratives, or is there someone out to get him? Well, speaking of testing the waters, remember how I said there's been a lot of pressure on Drake to deliver with this Iceman album, right? The stakes are very heavy. No pun intended, since he is the gavel and gamble pushing geek, right? Now, I had given Drake credit. I said that I thought the Iceman rollout had been a creative way to test out new music, right? You do these hour-and-a-half live streams, so it becomes more of a moment than just premiering songs onto Apple Music. And with all these eyeballs watching your stream, you now have the ability to drop, 3, 4, 5 songs in one stream, or just preview them and just get an idea of what people like, what they don't like. You can see it all in the comments. Because everything is perception, right? Like if Drake just dropped these songs onto streaming platforms and they flopped and everyone hated them, that would be a very bad look. But if he just puts them on his live stream and people can react to them, and then, the ones that they like, he puts onto streaming platforms, it's playing it safer. It's testing the waters before you actually stamp anything. Now, while the whole Iceman stream was a good idea, it's been executed horribly, right? He creates these big moments, but then he previews awful music, like that song with Central C. That thing hit 23 on the Billboard charts in its first week. That's a horrible debut for Drake. And then right after that first week, it just plummeted right off the charts. Nothing he put out in those Iceman episodes has stuck. Somehow he's got his fans convinced that Iceman episode 3 was going to be this big red button that would nuke the entire industry and expose all the secrets that are written within his lawsuit. But when it came around to it, all we got was extremely boring visuals, a bunch of random instrumentals, and arguably his worst song of all time with Yeet, which for some reason he actually ended up putting onto streaming platforms. And if you want to take a look at what botting looks like, I'm not saying he necessarily factually did use bots on this Yeet song, but it has some very suspicious charting activity. So the song is released on September 9th, 2025. It cracks the US Spotify charts, and pay attention to these numbers, all right? So September 9th, it comes in around 70 on the charts with around 400,000 streams. It doesn't make the global Spotify charts, meaning it didn't have enough streams to make like the main Spotify chart that has all the most streamed songs globally. But then 3 days later, the song randomly premieres on the global Spotify charts with 2.2 million streams. Remember how I told you the song came out 3 days before this, right? And it was getting around 400,000 streams on the US charts, meaning like in the US, it was streamed 400,000 times on the first day of its release on September 9th. Suddenly, on September 12th, it's getting 2.3 million streams globally the first day that it actually enters that chart. And on the US chart, it bumps up 46 spots to the 13th position with 900,000 streams that day. That's a 500,000 plus increase from its first day on the charts when it had around 400,000. That's very suspicious off the rip, because usually a song in its first day will get the most amount of streams and then it slowly starts trickling down. But hey, maybe people didn't know about this song. It was just randomly premiered. Maybe it took a couple days to gain some traction, right? We'll give Drake the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what it does the next day, because surely if it's gaining that momentum and all of a sudden it just makes its random debut 3 days after its release onto the charts, then surely it's going to start to rise, or at least stay around the same numbers, right? Well, keep in mind again, September 12th, it comes on randomly onto the global Spotify charts for its first day, 3 days after it was actually released, with 2.3 million streams at number 43 on the charts. The next day, take a look at how far it dropped. It dropped 107 spots and only got 1.3 million streams. That's 1 million streams less than it had the day before. And the day before, it was already 3 days after its release. A song never just randomly gets a crap ton of streams on a random day and then suddenly drops 1 million streams in the following day. Are you following what I'm saying here? The drop is astronomical. It makes no sense. The next day, it completely falls off the charts. It's no longer on there. And the lowest song on the charts is Addison Rae's Diet Pepsi with around 1 million streams. That means that this Drake song had less than 1 million streams. So follow the numbers, right? The first 3 days of its release, this new song, it's not on the charts at all. One day, 3 days after its release, randomly, it pops up with 2.3 million streams. The next day, it falls over 100 spots on the charts and loses 1 million streams. And then the day after that, it falls off the charts completely and has 400,000 less streams than it did the day before. Do you see how suspicious this is? This is almost like his team plugged in a bunch of bots onto this song to see if it would, start gaining the traction if some more eyeballs were on it. But those bots didn't work, and so the song started organically falling off the charts at a rapid rate and losing an insane amount of streams. Probably because on the first day, those streams were not organic to begin with. Say what you want about Kendrick Lamar using bots, but we've never seen one of Kendrick's songs have a massive streaming day and then all of a sudden the next day it falls 100 positions and then just falls off the charts completely. What the hell is going on here? Is this Drake panicking because he thought this would be a massive hit with Yeet? It didn't end up being that. People hated the song, so he tried to bot it to inauthentically make it look like a hit, and then all of a sudden it just disappears because no one's actually listening to it? I can't think of another reason, aside from this being bots. If you guys can think of one, drop it in the comments. So again, a lot of pressure on this Iceman album. None of the singles have been sticking. He's desperately trying to preview tons of new music with these different episodes, these different live streams, and we're seeing very weird charting activity. Now, we're seeing one positive aspect of this entire Iceman rollout, which is that in one of the episodes, he premieres this beat while he's stepping into an elevator, and the beat sounded good. The OVHOs were very excited about what Drake was about to do with this instrumental. And again, to give him credit, I think it's a very creative way to, tease what's about to come in the future, right? Preview a bunch of these beats that you're going to be rapping on your album and give the fans a tease of the instrumentals and the sounds they could expect. Well, that one song that sounded promising, or that one beat that sounded good, Drake had actually recorded a full song to that beat over a year ago. And just like the slew of other leaked tracks we've heard from Drake over the last year and a half, this song ended up finding its way onto the internet without Drake's approval, allegedly. Unless, again, he's been the one testing the waters, leaking these songs the entire time. So the story behind this leak, it's pretty weird, right? Do you guys know what a meme coin is? Most of these meme coins have been launched on the blockchain Solana. They're just cryptocurrencies. The president made one. He made Trump coin. Basically, it's just a coin that is attached to a brand. Usually because the brand that it's attached to is big, the coin ends up getting a bunch of hype. It ends up going through the roof, and then the owners of the coin pull out all of their ownership. They take their profits, and then everyone who actually bought the coin is left with a bunch of losses, right? Have you heard of the Hawk Tua coin? You guys can do some research on that. So I say that most of them are launched on the blockchain Solana because that's where the popular meme coins are. But there's another blockchain called Pump Fund, which is basically a website that will just put meme coins out where you can buy them. So stick with me here. Pump Fund recently launched a streaming platform. Why that's substantial is because Pump Fund is the website you buy the meme coins off of. So now they have a live stream platform, kind of like Twitch, where creators can go on, they do live streams, and likely they have their own meme coins. So they're promoting their meme coins on the Pump Fund streaming platform. They're doing live streams on that website. But on that same website, people can go on, watch a live stream, and then buy the meme coin on the same website of whatever the coin is that the streamer is promoting. Drake is very big into the whole, streaming world, the gambling world with Stake and Kick. Stake is another website where you can gamble using cryptocurrency. But this is different from the Pump Fund website. So on the Pump Fund website, there was this token, this meme coin called Bagwork. And the two creators of this meme coin were live streaming on Pump Fund promoting their Bagwork meme coin. And mysteriously, they started playing this leaked Drake record with the same instrumental from the Iceman episode that all the OVHOs were pumping up as being, this great beat that Drake was about to kill.
Unreleased Drake. Unreleased Drake. Pump that shit. First time the song is ever played.
So, did Drake send these guys this record? It's very hard to tell. Drake spoke on it. We'll touch on that shortly. But the lyrics in this song, I probably can't play much, but he has some more bars for Demar DeRozan and or LeBron James, who were both at the pop-out concert when Kendrick Lamar was on his little victory lap. In the song, he raps, "I sent him the sack because I wanted you shipped to the king." This is in reference to the former Toronto Raptors NBA player DeMar DeRozan, who was very close with Drake when he was playing on the Toronto Raptors. He now currently plays on the Sacramento Kings team. Drake reflects when he was part of the Raptors team and when they were friends, saying, "When you was a part of the team, we used to be planning our Mexico trip in the spring. We must have been dealing the spur of the moment. Why did we think you could get us a ring?" In 2018, DeMar DeRozan was traded from the Toronto Raptors to the San Antonio Spurs. Drake says here, "We must have been dealing the spur of the moment. Why did we think you could get us a ring?" In that same year, Kawhi Leonard ended up getting traded from San Diego to the Toronto Raptors, where he ended up getting a ring while playing for the Toronto team. Remember how Kendrick rapped on Not Like Us? "I'm glad D-Rose came home. Y'all didn't deserve him neither." D-Rose is a nickname for DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan was in the Not Like Us music video. He also used to play for the Toronto Raptors. Kendrick is saying, "I'm glad he came home. He's now playing for a California team." Drake used to be friends with DeMar. He's very butthurt about that. So he continues rapping. "They're bragging about how you went home. The F are they on? Crody, we threw you away. G-Pop sent us a real one from Diego, and next thing you know, he was doing parades." Again, Kawhi Leonard came from a San Diego NBA team to the Toronto Raptors, won them a championship. DeMar DeRozan was playing underwhelmingly on the Toronto Raptors. He ended up getting traded back to California, where Kendrick raps, "I'm glad D-Rose came home." Drake flips that to say, "They're bragging about how you went back home. What are they on? We threw you away. Why did we think you could get us a ring?" That's a play on words. "Cause why? Kawhi? We got a real one. G-Pop sent us a real one from Diego." Kawhi was sent from San Diego to play on the Toronto Raptors. It's actually a good play on words. I'll give Drake that. I don't mind this song at all. I just, laugh every time he keeps crying about all these NBA players that he thought were his friends and avoiding the real target, which is Kendrick Lamar. Now, how did these kids get this leak, right? Do you understand the legal ramifications against playing leaked music on a live stream if it wasn't someone who actually recorded the song, who officially sent you the leak? That's why it's questionable that, Drake wasn't the one who actually gave these guys the song to play on their live stream, right? Drake is claiming that he has no idea who these kids are or how they got the song. But why would these kids, who are already promoting a very suspicious meme coin, start tinkering with the law even further by illegally playing music that they don't rightfully own? But Drake does seem genuinely confused who these kids are and how they got the music. He calls into his favorite streamer, Adin Ross's live stream, and basically says, "I don't know who they are, how they got the music," and he ends up flirting with Adin Ross on this phone call. It's like really weird the way they talk to each other.
You don't
Why
want
you say it like why you say it so sassy?
because that's how you talk. You talk so sassy.
No, I'm saying no, bro. Don't talk to me like that. Like,
Then you don't.
I don't even know who those kids are. Are you crazy?
Wait, you actually don't know who those kids are?
No, I just asked you who they are. What the?
Well, can I get the song too? Like,
I'm in Berlin. What the? I
What?
don't even know.
When do you get home?
I'll see you soon, bro.
Okay, pull up on me after tour. Bye. Bye, Drake.
All right, Drake, have a good one, bro.
I love y'all boys, though.
Love you, Drake.
Love you, bro.
And you see how he switches his accent to, depending who he's talking to, right? Like when he's talking to Bobby Althoff, he's the spicy slumber party girl. When he's talking to Adin Ross, he's the flirty girlfriend. But then on this song, he's talking like the phony Montana, Toronto tough talking mob boss, dissing DeMar DeRozan, avoiding any smoke with Kendrick Lamar. But back to these mysterious leaks, right? How is it that from so many different facets of Drake's camp, so much music and private conversations are coming out to the public all of a sudden since this battle ensued? I'm not even talking about all of the reference tracks that leaked right after the battle. We got like 3 different reference tracks, one for Mob Pies, one for Ratchet Happy Birthday, and one for Jumbotron Poppin', all written by different artists. One PARTYNEXTDOOR, one Vori, and one Lil Yachty. We really got 3 Drake ghostwriting reference tracks and 10 songs that have leaked online since this battle ensued. It goes right back to Kendrick on 616 in LA saying, "The wires in your circle should puzzle you. If you were street smart, you would know that your entourage is only to hustle you." There's either one of 2 things going on. Someone in Drake's camp is trying to sabotage him, or he's purposely leaking this music himself without telling the world that it's him leaking the music so he could get the reaction from the fans and know what's the right music to drop on streaming platforms and officially stamp. But the latter doesn't really make sense because he ends up dropping all the crappy songs that people hate onto streaming platforms almost like he's tone deaf. The song with Yeet that he probably allegedly had to bot. The song with Central C that flopped off the charts. If anything, if he's the one leaking this music to try and see, fans' reactions, he would be officially releasing the songs that actually get good reactions from the fans. But the leaks don't stop there. The Crypto Kids claim that they have more Drake music that they're about to release in promotion of their meme coin.
You gotta get Drake pissed. You gotta get him more pissed.
We dropping the whole album on stream. Y'all want the Drake unreleased? Come to Backwork Boys live stream on Pump Fun.
Drake hasn't messaged us. Adin Ross messaged us. He's like, bro, I think he was trying to narc us out, bro. He's like, bro, how the f you get the leak? We told him, hey, bro, you come on our stream, we'll let you know. He still hasn't responded yet, but.
So you can see Drake's husband, Adin Ross, is texting them, trying to figure out where these leaks are coming from. The team is scrambling, and there's more pressure than ever to deliver with this Iceman album. All the while, people like Kai Cenat have been trashing how horrible the rollout has overall been, to the point where Drake is back dissing Kai Cenat. I did a whole video on that. You guys can check it out. They're a little sassy back and forth, but people are not liking the music. So it makes you think maybe Drake is just dumping it all to see what we do like, and essentially trying to restart from scratch because nothing has ended up sticking. Now, what's crazier to me is the fact that Drake is talking all flirty to Adin Ross. Meanwhile, when the, real Drake thing leaked, like the picture there of his you-know-what, this is how Adin Ross had reacted to that leak.
It's like crazy, bro. Like, you're blessed with your voice, you're blessed with performing, you're blessed to be you, you're blessed to be number one, but you're also blessed to have a missile.
So, if you're a dude and another dude is glazing the size of your, private parts, would you really be flirting with him like that? I don't know. And then we have the biggest Drake meat riders, DJ Akademiks, who had claimed that this song that the Crypto Kids had leaked was actually supposed to be a song featuring Pressa. Pressa, if you guys don't know, is a Canadian rapper who has beef with another one of Drake's glazers. There's tons of these little minions rolling around. Top 5 and Pressa, they're beefing. But Pressa was supposed to be on this song with Drake. His verse actually ended up leaking. Akademiks leaked it. Akademiks also claims that there's a Drake music video that he shot in October of 2024 for the song No Face, the one that featured Playboi Carti, then mysteriously didn't feature Playboi Carti. Drake shot a music video for that song. Allegedly, he had told Pressa that he was going to shoot the music video for the song that they have together. But when the music video came out, it was for a completely different song. And then the Pressa song ends up mysteriously leaking. But why would Drake be doing music with a guy beefing his biggest glazer top 5? This whole thing is just really strange, very mysterious. We don't know where these leaks are coming from, but it does seem like it's Drake trying to basically burn the house down, right? In protest of UMG, he's dropping all this music in very weird, mysterious ways. He's also releasing a bunch of weird music like Wagwan Delilah, which is basically a troll, a middle finger to the labels to show I'll just do what I want. The whole 100 gigs thing was him showing the label, I'm just going to do whatever I feel like, drop music the way I want, and prove to you that my fans will still support it. Meanwhile, the fans aren't supporting it. He's doing all these unique rollouts, right? Doing the 100 gigs thing, doing the Iceman streams where he's premiering random beats and new unreleased music and samples and this and that. Teasing what is most definitely the most pressure he's ever had on a solo album in his entire career. But meanwhile, everyone hates the music, and it seems like Drake is just dumping it all on the internet as an excuse to basically start fresh, start a new rollout. Tell everyone, hey, that was just a teaser for what's really to come. Maybe this is the end of the very underwhelming Iceman era, and we'll get something bigger for his final album with UMG, so he can prove to the world that he's still the biggest BBL buffoon. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living.